Hello everyone, welcome to the ITLS Academy. Today we are going to discuss another topic in the series of food preservation, and the topic that we are going to discuss is about the preservation of the food by heat treatment. Okay, so which means that we have to extend the shelf life of the food product. Okay, we have to extend the shelf life of the food products by applying the heat. By applying the heat. This heat is used to kill the microorganisms present into the food product. Okay, when we apply the heat, then obviously the other properties of the food will also be disturbed, but the major impact of this heat is what? The killing of the microorganisms, and when the microorganisms are eliminated, then the shelf life of the food product is extended, and when the consumer consume that food product, that food product will be safe for them. Okay, and you can also consider as a healthy food products. So we have to discuss that how we preserve our food product by different heat treatment. So let's start the lecture. Food preservation is referred to the process of preventing or slowing the food spoilage. Okay, the main of the food preservation is what? We have to either prevent the food spoilage or slow down the food spoilage. Now, these food spoilage is either occur due to the presence of the microorganism, due to the enzymatic reaction, or due to the chemical reaction. All these three factors are what are responsible for the food spoilage. Now what we have to do, we have to prevent these food spoilage or slow down that food spoilage, that is known as a preservation. And we also have to maintain the safety of the food product, their texture, flavor, and nutritional value. This will not be lost. Now, heat treatment is one of the oldest and most widely used preservative technique. If we talk about the preservative technique, then this heat treatment is what? It is the most oldest type of the preservative technique, and this heat treatment can be used widely. By using a control heat, we can destroy the microorganism, inactivate the enzyme, and prolong the shelf life of the food product. Okay, but when we apply the heat, so we have to apply the heat in a control manner. By applying that heat in a control manner, we can eliminate the microorganism, we can kill the microorganism, we can inactivate the enzyme, and also prolong the shelf life of the food product without any compromising too much to the quality. Okay, so we have to focus on that thing also, that we have to not compromising with our not compromise with the food quality of the food product. It is the main aim behind it. We have without any compromises to that quality of the food products. So this is about the introduction to the food preservation. Importance of the heat treatment. Now this heat treatment play a very critical role in a food safety and shelf life. Okay, so when we use a heat treatment, then our food becomes safe and their shelf life increases. Okay, and these both terms are related to that inactivation of the microorganisms, inactivation of the enzymatic reaction, and the chemical reaction. Now in that case, these heat treatment play a very critical role. It reduces the microbial contamination and enhance the product stability during the storage. When we apply the heat, then ultimately the microbial contamination is reduces and product stability is increases during the storage, because during the storage the contamination, microbial contamination is increases, and the food safety is decreases during that storage process. Okay, so we have to reduce this microbial contamination and product stability during that storage. It is applicable to a variety of food product, including your dairy product, juices, canned goods, and ready to eat meals. Heat treatment also improve the digestibility, modify the texture, and enhance the certain flavors of the food product. Okay, now these heat treatment can be used in with the variety of the food product, like your dairy product, juices, canned good, and ready to eat meals. But these heat treatments sometimes also improve the digestibility of the food product and modify the texture of the food product and enhance the certain flavors of the food product. Now, what is the main objective of the heat preservation? So, the main goal of the heat treatment, that is your destroying or reducing the harmful microorganisms. Okay, that we all know that microorganisms are of two types. The one is your beneficial microorganism and the another one is your harmful microorganisms. So, when we apply the heat for the preservation of the food product, we destroy that harmful microorganisms or reduce the quantity of the harmful microorganisms, and also inactivate the enzyme which is responsible for the food spoilage, extend the shelf life of the perishable foods. Here the perishable foods are mentioned because the shelf life of the perishable food is very less, like around like a few days only, like your fruits, vegetables, milk. Perishable foods are those foods whose moisture content is high, whose moisture content is high. So what we have to do, we have to extend the shelf life of that perishable food product and ensure that the safety for a consumer health, stabilizing the product for the storage and transportation. Principle of the heat treatment. Heat treatment rely the transferring the sufficient heat into the food product. Okay, so it is suppose that this is your food product. Now what we have to do, we have apply the heat on that food product, and these heat can be transferred into the food product. Okay, and when this heat are transferred into that food product, then microorganisms are killed and enzyme become inactivate. But for applying the heat treatment, time and temperature both are very crucial. Temperature and time. If the time are extended, then again the food become not good for the consumption, and if the temperature extended, then at the same time the food will become not good for that consumption. Maybe the microbial load are not occurred, but their texture changes, their nutritive value decreases, their flavor changes. So we have to combine the time and temperature when we apply the heat treatment. The fidelity of that process are totally depend upon the how quickly and uniformly heat penetrate the product. Important factors which include which affect that heat treatment is the type of the microorganisms, food pH, food composition, and food packaging material. It affect that um, heat treatment that we apply for the food product. Microbial death kinetics. Microbial destruction by heat follow first order the kinetics, like your D value, Z value, and F value. D value is also known as a decimal reduction time. So it is defined as a total time required for that given temperature so that the microbial population can be reduces by that 90%. Okay, D value or decimal reduction time is what? It is the total time required at that particular temperature so that the 90% of the microbial population present into the food product can be reduced. It is known as a D value. Next is your Z value. Z value is what? It is the temperature change which is needed to alter the D value by the factor 10. temperature change needed to alter the D value by the factor of 10. Next is your F value. F value is what? It is the process of Liddilytic expressed as a equivalent time with reference to the temperature, that is around 121 degrees Celsius. So these values help the processor, which is designed for the safety of the food product and effective for the heat treatments. Classification of the heat treatment. Now, heat treatment can be classified into that following way, like your pasteurization, sterilization, blanching, canning, aseptic, and UHT process. Okay, pasteurization is what? When we use a mild heat for the killing of the pathogenic microorganisms. Killing of the pathogenic microorganisms, like the temperature is below 100 degrees Celsius, then at that process is known as a pasteurization. In sterilization, what we have to do, we apply a severe heat, and here the target is all type of microorganism. Okay, severe heat means that we can use a temperature range around 121 degrees Celsius or more than 121 degrees Celsius. In branching, we inactivate the enzyme. Inactivate the enzyme. Here we use either a heated water or a steam so that it can inactivate the enzyme. Canning, heat processing that we done after the sealing the container. What we have to do, we take a container, and in container we fill the fruits or vegetable by applying the brine and your sugar syrup. Then after that we seal it. Then after sealing we apply the heat process for the preservation. Aseptic UHT process. In this process, we use a ultra high temperature, which is followed by the sterile filling. Pasteurization. So pasteurization is simply means that it is the process of the heat treatment in which we use a mild heat, and this mild heat are enough for the elimination or destroying the pathogenic microorganisms. And when we apply a mild heat, then there is a significant like there is no significant change occur in the sensory and the nutritive value of the food product, but this microorganisms like it is not intended to kill all type of the microorganism, because the target is what? The target is only the pathogenic microorganism. Pathogenic microorganism means that the microorganisms which are responsible for causing the disease. Okay, so when the pathogenic microorganisms are reduces or kill, then the safety level are increases and the shelf life is increases under the refrigerated condition. Every pasteurized food after like every pasteurized food we have to store it under the refrigeration condition to get a safer level. Now see what is written here. Pasteurization is a mild heat treatment process which is designed to destroy the pathogenic microorganism without causing a significant changes in food sensory and nutrition quality. It is not intended to kill all microorganisms, but to reduce them to a safe level and extend the shelf life under the refrigeration condition. Next, so this pasteurization can be divided into the three category. The first one is your LTLT, that is known as a low temperature long time. The second one is your HTST, that is high temperature short time, and the third one is your UP, that is your ultra pasteurization. Now if we talk about the first one, that is your low temperature long time. So in this category we apply a less temperature. Okay, but the time is long. See, here the temperature range is around 63 degrees Celsius and the time is required for around 30 minutes. So what we have to do, we apply a 63 degrees Celsius for 30 minutes so that the pathogenic microorganism will be eliminated. And this can be mainly used for the batch operation. Next is your high temperature short time, that is your HTST. In this process, we apply a high temperature, like more than this. Here you can apply 63 degrees Celsius. Then in HTST, you can apply a 72 degrees Celsius for 15 seconds. And this can be used for the pasteurization of the milk and juices. Next is your ultra pasteurization, in which a very high temperature is applied, that is around 135 degrees Celsius for 2 seconds. Okay, then extended the shelf life of the food product. The selection of the pasteurization are totally depend upon the type of the product, desired shelf life and quality parameters. Application of the pasteurization. So pasteurization can be widely used for the different type of the food product. The first category is your milk and dairy product, that is your milk, cream, yogurt and cheese milk. Next category is your beverages, which included the fruit juices, soft drinks and beer. Other liquid food like your liquid egg and soup, and it provided the safety and increases the storage stability of the food product. Now the next is your sterilization. So after pasteurization, the second category is your sterilization. So in sterilization, we apply a high heat. Okay, and this heat can destroy the all type of the microorganism. Even the spores of the microorganism can also kill by that sterilization process. Here we typically use 121 degrees Celsius for 15 minutes under a pressure. Okay, same as with that autoclave. Then is sterilization. Um, the sterilized product can be stored at a room temperature by a shelf stability. Okay, but once you open that product, then after that you have to keep it at a refrigerated condition. Now see what is written here. Sterilization aim for complete destruction of all microorganism, including the bacterial spore. It typically involves the heating food at 121 degrees Celsius for 15 minutes or equivalent condition under the pressure, like a autoclave. In autoclave, what we have to do when we perform a sterilization process, we use a temperature 121 degrees Celsius, and along with it 15 psi pressure will also be used. Sterilization render the product shelf stable at room temperature. Commercially sterility. This it is not means that absolute sterility, but indicate that no viable microorganism of public health significance or capable of growing in normal storage condition remain. For low acid canned food, a 2D process, that is your destruction of Clostridium botulinum spore, is the safety standard. Blanching. Blanching is what? Blanching is a short time heat treatment in which we pour the food product into the hot water or steam. Then for the same time period, we pour the food product into the cold cold water for the inactivation of the enzyme. Then after that, the other food preservative technique will be used for the storage of the that food product, that is your either we use a freezing, canning or drying. Okay, it can also use to clean the surface of the food product, and the tissue of the food product becomes soft and reduces the microbial load. Blanching is a short time heat treatment, usually in hot water or steam, aim at inactivating enzyme before freezing, canning or drying. It also helps in cleaning the surface of the food, softening the tissue and reducing the microbial load. Application of the blanching vegetable before freezing to prevent the off flavors and texture loss. Okay, if we blanch the vegetables, like suppose that if we have to um extend the shelf life of the vegetable, now what we have to do, if we directly freeze it, then maybe the off flavor occur and their texture is lost. So for preventing their off flavor and the texture, we blanch the vegetable before the freezing. Fruit before dehydration so that it preserve the color and nutrients. Suppose that if we dehydrate the fruit, means that we remove the water content from the food, remove the water content. When the water content is removed, then obviously the shelf life increases, but at the same time we apply the blanching on that food product, then it will preserve the color and the nutritive value. Losing the skin of the tomatoes and peaches before the peeling. Prepare the products for further processing and extend the storage stability. Now the next is canning. So in canning, what we have to do, we take a food product and suppose that if we have our vegetables, now this vegetables can be dipped into the brine solution, and if we have a fruits, then it can be dipped into the syrup solution. Okay, then after that we apply the heat. Next, sorry, after that we like seal the container, and then after sealing the container we give them a high temperature. That high temperature is used to destroy the microorganisms, and this technique is discovered by the Nicholas Appert, and it considered as a revolutionary food preservation, which is used for creating the shelf stability of the food product. Now, see what is written here. Canning involve sealing the food in container, metal can, glass jar, retort pouches, and subjecting them to a high temperature heat treatment to destroy the microorganisms. Canning process. First of all, we have to select the raw material and then we prepare it. Then after that, we fill it into the pre-sterile container. It is very important. The container in which we fill the raw material, it should be pre-sterile. Then we perform a exhausting. Exhausting means that we have to remove the air from the container. Then sealing will be done under the vacuum condition and heat processing in retorts. Cooling repeatedly is used to prevent the overcooking, and then labeling and storage. Type of the canned food products. So canned food products are divided into the two category. The first one is your high acid food and the second one is your low acid food. High acid food are those food whose pH value is less than 4.6, and this in this category the foods are fruits, pickle, tomato products, and it can be processed at very low temperature. Low acid food whose pH is more than 4.6 degrees Celsius, and the product which come under the category of low acidic food is vegetable, meat, soup, and it required high temperature, that is more than or equal to 121 degrees Celsius for the reduction of that spores forming microorganisms. Now the next is your retort system. Retort system is what? It is nothing. It is a specialized pressure vessels which is used for the processing of the canned food. Okay, so it can be done by three ways. The first one is your batch retort, then continuous retort, and overpressure retort. This batch retort are considered as a traditional method, and in this method we process the container in a batch. Okay, next is your continuous retort. In this method conveyor system is used which allow the continuous flow and processing. Overpressure retort. In overpressure retort it maintain the product integrity in flexible pouches. Next is your aseptic processing. Aseptic processing means that we process the food product in a truly sterile condition. Then after that, we have to pack that food product again in a sterile condition. These sterile products are filled into the sterile condition under a sterile aseptic condition, means that the environment which are free from the microorganism. Environment which are free from microorganisms. That is known as a aseptic packaging. In aseptic processing, the product and the package are sterile separately. Okay, we have two things. The one is your product and the another one is your packaging material. So we have to sterile it both in a separate way. Then we have to fill the sterile product into the sterile condition. But the environment in which we filling that product is also a aseptic condition, which reduces the processing time and improve the quality, which is compared to in container sterilization. Next is your ultra high temperature processing. In ultra high temperature processing, we use a high heat for the preservation of the food product, and that heat is very high, like it is around 135 to 150 degrees Celsius, but the time is very less, that is around 2 to 5 seconds. So you can see that when we have a low temperature, then the time is high, and when we have a high temperature, then the time is less. So this time and temperature combination is very important. So in UHT process, what we have to do, we heat the food product at very high temperature, that is around 135 degrees to 150 degrees Celsius for 2 to 5 seconds. Then we perform a immediate cooling and sterile packaging, and it is widely used for the milk, juices, creams and soup. UHT process are shelf stable without any refrigeration for a month. If we have a UHT processed food product, then we can kept it at a room temperature even for a month. Heat penetration and container size. So heat is transferred inside the container and affect how quickly the center of the food reaches the required temperature. Conduction for solid food and convection for liquid food. Larger container and viscous product need a longer heating to achieve that sterility. Effects of heat on nutrient. So the heat treatment can lose the heat sensitive nutrients like your vitamin C, folate and thiamines. Minerals and the macronutrients remain most stable. Using the optimized time temperature with the combination, it will help the minimization of the nutrient loss while ensuring the safety of the food product. Effect of heat on food quality. So heat can also alter the texture of the food product, like in case of the softening the vegetable, it also affect the color of the food product, like browning or fading of the pigments, and flavor like your Maillard reaction or caramelization. Although some changes are desirable, but when excessive heat are applied, then it can responsible for the off flavor and the nutrient losses. Enzyme inactivation. There are different enzymes like your peroxidase and polyphenol oxidase. It can cause a browning and off flavor. Heat inactivate these enzymes and prevent that the quality deterioration during the storage. Blanching and pasteurization are especially designed to inactivate the key enzymes. Safety consideration like your Clostridium botulinum. It is the most critical hazard which occur in a low acidic canned food. Okay, which this Clostridium botulinum is a microorganisms which can affect the low acidic canned food products. So for eliminating the Clostridium botulinum, we required a proper time temperature processing so that it will ensure the safety of the food product. Regular monitoring and adherence to the validated schedule, which is essential for the prevention of the foodborne illness. Equipment which is used in a heat processing, that is your pasteurizer, autoclaves, retort, and UHT system. Pasteurizers like your plate heat exchanger and tubular system. Autoclave like pressure vessels for that sterilization process. Retort like batch or continuous system for that canning process. And UHT system direct or indirect heating. Equipment selection are totally depend upon the food type, production scale, and desired quality of the food product. Monitoring and control. Process control ensure that every batch meets the safety standard, and calibration of the thermocouples, temperature sensor, data loggers, it can help to maintain the consistency of the food product. Automated control system along with the alarm, it can prevent the deviation from that critical parameters. Combined method like combining the heat treatment with the other preservative technique enhance the safety of the food product and quality of the food product. Like suppose that if we apply the heat treatment along with the preservative like your sorbate and benzoate, then heat treatment with the vacuum packaging, heat treatment with the modified atmospheric packaging, these combination allow the milder heat treatment along with the to improve the quality retention. Advantages of the heat treatment: proven and well established technology, high level of the food safety and extended the shelf life. It can be handle a large scale production and reduces the dependence on that refrigeration for the storage and transport. If we apply the heat preservation technique for the preservation of the food product, then it can reduces the refrigeration for during the storage and the transport. Limitation of the heat treatment: possible loss of heat sensitive nutrients like nutrients and flavors, texture changes in delicate foods, high energy consumption and equipment cost. It is not suitable for all type of the food product like your leafy salads. Innovation in heat tree processing, like emerging technology aim to reduce the nutrient loss and energy use. Ohmic heating, like your electric current heat, is used for the food quickly. Microwave assisted thermal sterilization, rapid uniform heating, high pressure thermal processing, which is combined with the pressure and heat for the better retention of the nutrients. Quality assurance in heat processing, like implementation of the HACCP, validation of the time temperature schedules, regular equipments maintenance and calibration, compliance with the FSSAI, FDA Codex and standard, which ensure the safe product for the consumption of the consumers. Future trends: development of the energy efficient heating methods, use of the intelligent packaging so that it monitor the process advocacy, integration with non-thermal technology like pearls electric field, focus on the sustainability and better nutrient retention. Summary: heat treatment is a cornerstone of modern food preservation. Different technique like your pasteurization, sterilization, blanching, canning, UHT processing ensure the safety, stability, and extend the shelf life of the food product. Balancing the safety with quality is the key to successful the heat preservation. References: these are the references. Okay, so this is all about the preservation by a heat treatment. I hope you will understand, but if you have any query related to this, you are freely to ask me in a comment box, or for a further detail you can follow the ITLS Academy on different platform, that is your Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, WhatsApp and LinkedIn, and subscribe our channel ITLS Academy on YouTube and get our app from a Google Play. You can also visit our website, that is www.itlsacademy.com, or ask ask your query to the helpline number that are already mentioned in your slide, that is 7080833450. Thank you for watching. Please like, share and subscribe our channel.